Hello and welcome back to the TheDropOutDragon. Today we're going to be reviewing the Corvian Great Scythe, and it's no secret that this line of weapons, the scythes, they're just not very good, but we're going to cover it anyway and talk about the pros and cons of the weapon, and this is the build I'm using, this 40-40 quality build, and we'll go ahead and get right into it. So two-handed is, I would say, the best moveset for the weapon itself, but we'll start with the one-handed moveset here. Here are the R1s, real quick. And here are the R2s. Here is the running attack. And the rolling attack. So there is that. Now, the running attack and the rolling attack don't have as much range as you think they do. They're very inconsistent with whether or not you'll hit people. So we'll go ahead and two-handed. Here are the R1s. These are the R2s. Here's the running attack. And the rolling attack. So there is the moveset for the weapon real quick. And we'll go ahead and get right into it. So the pros and cons of this weapon. Well, one of the big cons of this thing is it doesn't have pressuring ability. There's a lot of weapons that have pressuring ability, but they normally have something to back it up. This weapon, I would say, pro-wise, has actually pretty good spacing. There's pretty good spacing between this weapon and the other weapons in the game. You can kind of space people out like you would using a spear. It seems kind of confusing to say that because it is just a scythe, but you'd be surprised. Its hitbox is a little wonky. Sometimes things will be a bit inconsistent, and you'll say, oh, look at that. You know, I should have hit him. I don't know why I didn't hit him. It just seems that way, but that's the way it rolls in a Souls game anyway. Now, is the weapon viable? A lot of people don't use scythes. A lot of people poo-poo on the scythes and they say, you know, it's not viable. I would say, in comparison to some of the weapons that we would consider competitive, and you know, as much as Souls can be competitive, no, this weapon does not match up to those in any way. Is it fun to use? Yes, the scythes are fun to use. They can be done in a way where you are effective in the duel itself, but you're not going to outshine, you know, a Karthus curved sword that not much does, you know, or most of the straight swords, or anything with hyper armor. I swear that's the biggest killer of this thing, is anything with hyper armor. It's almost like I'm running around with the speed of a halberd, which isn't very fast, but no hyper armor, and I don't even get the same damage as some of the other things. So he's looking at me, he's waiting to trade. He's got he's south of the Lucerne, probably has the Leo ring. I'd have the Leo ring if I was using Lucerne. Go ahead and catch him there. Maybe we can catch him in a roll. We did, but he roll poised it, which is okay. That does happen. I'm going to space that badly and get counter hit really quick right there, and he's going to go for a little combo, and he's going to get it. Didn't catch him in that roll either. It looks like you should. So instead of doing running attacks just constantly, I like to throw firebombs instead. Kind of be like, you know, you can't stay away from me. You have to engage, or I'm gonna start throwing out these attacks. He's waiting to parry. Didn't want to give it to him. Luckily, that wasn't a full-on hit on his part. But you kind of want to space people out. One of the things you can do is, surprisingly enough, the R1 will actually combo into the R2. That's a thing. So I can try to do that right here. It will connect. GG, my friend. So you kind of space people out. You got to play very defensively with a weapon like this because, like I said, you don't have any hyper armor. You don't have any ability to pressure, so you kind of have to play really reactive, which is, you know, good since there's a lot of aggressive weapons in the game that require you to be aggressive. So if you're gonna do that and you're gonna space people out and whatnot with those aggressive weapons, you know, somebody who's kind of just toting the line with a scythe, they're going to be a little bit difficult to deal with if they know what they're doing, because they will get those combos in, and they'll be like, oh yeah, my R1 and R2, you know, this 500 AR just done right there, so that's nice. I will say one of my other big complaints about the scythes, and this isn't something that I can really blame FromSoft for, since they don't really, you know, think about this kind of thing, but it has really bad wake-ups. There's no wake-ups on this that are consistent. You can't just charge in R2 and catch somebody in a roll. You can't just, you know, R1 at the right time. It's very easy to double roll out of this thing. It's very easy to get away. Sometimes I'm able to hit them with the sword art, and the sword art is just god-awful. Don't even use it. So if you're going to do anything with the sword art, maybe on a wake-up it's okay, maybe, because it has a bit of a lingering hitbox on its left side, which is nice, but otherwise, no. The sword art is just the worst. It is just not good at all. So All right, this guy's got fists. He's gonna think about it. Now he gets stuck in any kind of way doing his L1. I might be able to get him out. He's gonna have some bad tracking there. Try to catch him in R2. Didn't go through. He did catch me on that, which is surprising, but you know. I think his rolling attack actually has more range than mine does. Now at this point in time, I actually do more damage than him, especially when he's gonna lose that buff there in a bit. I do more damage than him. Both of us having bad tracking there, really bad tracking. So I could just trade with him on his rolling attack since he's very comfortable with that. I'll throw out an R2, go ahead and clip him because he was charging it up. No catch for me. Now he's stuck. He's stuck there doing his attack, and I can make my move. But you know, it's against fists. You can never know. Go ahead and catch him there. I'm gonna try for the sword art and got it. And got it. Got very lucky there. Smacked him with the sword art. It's probably the only sword art kill you're ever going to see because it is so bad. At least on this channel, I tell you that right now, because it is just not good. Not good at all. I do not like the sword art. It has, you know, that weeaboo cool factor to it, but otherwise it's, you know, it's not very effective, I would say. It does damage, at least. So another pro to the Scythes is they do have piercing damage. Not a whole lot of people use shields in this game. If they're going to go shield work, they're probably going to be using like a great shield. They're not like me. I love having the Lothric on my side for, you know, long swords and stuff like that. They're probably going to use a great shield, which is good. It's good to fight against a great shield when you have a Scythe because you're going to do chip damage. You have that piercing damage right through it, and it's going to be, you know, a fairly decent number. However, if they're using a medium shield or a small shield, and they're going to block you, they know you can go through their shield. The chances are they're going to set up parry you. This weapon and the other Scythes as well, since they have basically the same moveset, they are so easy to set up parry. Let me tell you, it's so easy to set up parry those. So be careful. If you're spamming into somebody's shield and you're going, oh, what an idiot, I've already done 250 in damage. Well, he's about to do 1100 on a Hornet Ring. So you got to be a little bit careful about that. Alright, this guy's using the Moonlight Greatsword. It got a buff, and hopefully it'll be covering that soon. Another weapon that's pretty lackluster, but it did get a buff. Does do very good damage, but it is lacking in some other areas. The thing that makes it special kind of sucks, which is, you know, a shame. I'll go ahead and get a backstab here. We'll try a sword art wake up on him. Yeah, he moved to my left. When they move to your left, the sword art is actually pretty good. If they move to your right, you're probably going to miss him. He's going to go for a parry, and I'm going to go ahead and backstab him. When I saw that Cestus come out for that parry, I knew better. Didn't catch him there. He's thinking about something. He's probably weapon swapping, so I'll go ahead and got a black firebomb there. He was ring swapping or weapon swap. He was doing something. He was swamping something, so I'm going to go ahead and hit him there. Go ahead and top off the blue. So really, I mean, with Scythes, you know, it's very inconsistent. You can do really well sometimes, and sometimes you'll just get, you know, poo-pooed on. It depends on who you're fighting, what playstyle they have, and what weapon they're using. I mean, you could say that about literally every fight in this game. You could say that about every weapon in this game, but it's so readily apparent when you're using, you know, a Scythe, and you're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna try to do good. I'm gonna try to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get there and go into the space, but sometimes you just can't. It's not very good against spears, and one of the hardest fights I think I've had so far when my buddies and I were palling around trying to get good with Scythes, somebody brought a great knife to the fight, and it was just the worst thing ever. Like, we couldn't space, we couldn't get away from it. They just hit us. We couldn't spam into them if we had, like, you know, a rapier or a straight sword. We couldn't do that. So basically, he just got free hits on us over and over again because we just don't have that ability. We don't have that ability to scare anybody. You know, a Scythe doesn't have the ability to say, get the hell out of my space. You don't have that, like you would like with a straight sword or a curved sword or something like that. Or even a halberd, because, you know, they have the hyper armor going on there. So this weapon is just lacking in so many different ways. And the way that you have to play with it in order for it to be, you know, effective is, I think I picked up the same dude. I apologize for that. The way that you have to deal with it is play super defensive and watch out and be really reactive on their play, because if you're just not, then you're just going to get your butt handed to you, because you're not going to win trades, especially if they have hyper armor. You're not going to outspeed them. You're not going to trade with them and be like, oh, you know, I'm just going to R1 again. No, he's going to have better frames. He's just going to hit you before you even finish off your animation. It's just something you can't do. You have to get away from them and start playing, you know, footsie with them on your, just trying to hope that your hitbox will go through. You have to do that. If you don't play a Scythe that way, then you will not do very well. And it is disappointing because the Scythes have such a fun move set. They're such fun weapons. They've always been fun weapons. They weren't that great. That's trying to make videos and stuff like this happens. You're just like, okay, well, let me try to grab these summons as quickly as I can, but you know, it happens. I don't do edits, so this is what you get. A lot of people tell me not to edit my videos, so this is what you get. At least I can keep talking, huh? I can't have any dead air, right? Anyway, the Scythe, I don't know. It's just one of these lackluster weapons that's disappointing because it is fun to use, but at the same time, you're not gonna be very effective, like at all. And you're not, you know, when it comes to fun weapons and the other Souls games, like they might have something, you know, that benefits them in some way, something the other guy can't do. But it's not the case. It's not the case with a weapon like this. All you can really do is space people. And of course, the one guy I summon in is probably AFK. Hello, guy. No, you're not AFK. Good. Good to know. Good to know. Hello, guy. Do a little in-fight gesturing. There we go. Pre-fight gesturing. So go ahead and throw out a running attack. He's gonna, surprisingly enough, mess that up. I'm gonna go ahead. I had a feeling he was gonna do that. Let's try for a wake up. I think he tried to parry there. I think he tried to parry, and it didn't work out for him. That was a really quick fight. That happened. So I got him on the wake up with the sword art. Sword art, I guess you could say, is probably your best option for a wake up. I'm so inconsistent with my timing on trying to get him on an R1. You're definitely not going to hit him on R2. It's so easy to double roll out of that. So just don't. Just don't even try, because it's not going to happen. And mountains of people that are saying no. I got matches all the past hour while I was playing around with this thing, and no, can't do that while we're on camera. They have the jitters. That's summon sign jitters. You got to watch out. It's the way it goes. But you know, that's pretty much it. It's probably the last fight that I'm going to have here. Not a whole lot more I could say about the weapon. One-handed, very weak. Don't do it. You really need the damage to even, you know, intimidate your opponent in any way. You just need to. You need some damage, and damage from these weapons only comes from when you're doing it, you know, two-handed. Or else you really just have like a weak straight sword in your right hand that's slower. That's the damage you're going to be putting out, you know, just one-handed. Yes, unless you really want to go for parries, or you're trying to set up for a parry or something like that, you know, you can do some running attacks maybe, but at the end of the day, you're just not putting it out, and you're not very threatening when you're doing, you know, 134 or 152 damage or something. You're just not very threatening. The other guy goes, oh, look at this idiot. So, I mean, that's what happens. So, you have to be careful. All right, this guy's got a straight sword. The dark sword, which is probably the worst straight sword for me to run into with a weapon like this because of its range. He's going to be looking at me. He's like, all right, this is pretty easy. The guy's using a scythe. I mean, he might be right. He's thinking about pyromancy. And he got it. He got that pyromancy. I got a hit on him, and he has, strangely enough, 27 vigor. He just let me hit him there. I guess he was wondering if I had the range or not. I would have dodged anyway, practicing. I'll go ahead and trade that. I charged that, having a feeling you'd forward whirl, and we'll just go ahead and get him. So, I mean, that's kind of what you need to do with the great scythes. You need to play it smart, look at them, keep your distance, and if you can do that, space them out. If they're playing ultra aggressive and they've got a weapon that's just faster than anything that, you know, you can throw out, you're gonna have a bad time. Be ultra cautious against ultras. I mean, I'm serious. The harp armor is gonna drive you nuts because you're gonna get that hit, and you're not doing thrust damage, so you won't get a very good counter hit. And they're gonna get 2 hits, and you're gonna have nothing to show for it other than maybe, you know, 280 while they take off 700. So you gotta be really careful with that. Hyper armor is probably one of the hardest things to deal with a scythe, I would say. At least I have trouble with that because, you know, as I'm trying to space them out, I get close, and they just hyper through anything I got after me, playing footsie with them for 10 minutes, and then what do I get out of it in return? 700 on my health lost, and 280 for them. It's not very fun in that way. But thanks for watching, guys. More videos coming soon as I get back into the game. Life's been pretty hectic for me lately. I've been trying to do a lot more streams than what I normally do. Things have been kind of awkward in the real life and keeping me from doing certain things, but hopefully we can be coming back at you with some more videos and more Souls content and more streams, lots of streams, hopefully. God willing, Jesus, because this has been hard. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. The Dropout Dragon is dropping out.